Okay, we're live now. Aleksej, welcome to our Datorium community, and I really thank you for having time and joining us today. I know that you work right now in Google, and we'll talk about these topics, but that will be very interesting to know, like your story and how do you feel there, and answer some questions. So everyone who is in the live stream, you're welcome to ask your questions anytime. Just drop them into the live stream chat of our Discord server. So where is that? You know, where is the live stream chat? It's here. And you can drop your questions here and we'll do our best to answer them. All right. So yeah, that's cool. Stop share. Aleksej, one more time, welcome. And my first question is, how is to work in Google? If you briefly describe that to a teenager.
For me, so far, it was my best career move. It is fun, it is interesting, it is challenging. And I have practically everything I need, which is fantastic, I think.
Okay, so from your words, we can like conclude that many teenagers can kind of dream to get into such positions. Maybe Google, maybe other like big companies like Google. That's cool. Okay, then what about your like career path? How did you start? Because I know that you are from Riga, Latvia.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, right? And now you are in
London.
You're in London and you work full-time for Google. Okay. So how did you get from Riga to London, and what is the story?
Well, I got an offer from Google. It sounds simple, right? Until then, I worked in Riga all of my life. So maybe I was approached by SRE recruiters exactly because I have done a lot of different things. I was doing a lot of different things.
Yeah,
I was a programmer. I started as a programmer and programming teacher, and this teaching was my night job for long time, for many years. And then
teaching programming, coding.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I started doing what you would call systems analysis and project management, and became team manager, and also was a systems administrator several times in my life. So there were many different things I did. I think mainly thanks to curiosity, a lot of it, and also a capability to take on more responsibility, so to say, which also is a way to grow in your career. Yeah, I don't know if it answers your question fully. Keep asking.
Well, fully. Of course, there could be a lot of details hiding there, but overall, yeah, that's very interesting answer. And you talked that you was teaching also coding, and so are you programmer by profession or by nature?
You tell me, what is a profession? What do you mean by profession here?
Maybe your education is it about programming or different thing? Or maybe let's start. What are you doing in Google right now?
I'm a site reliability engineer, which is a very old term. We're still using it because of now it is a term. It doesn't mean exactly the same thing at Google now, I think, because of when it started, it was called site reliability engineer because of Google was just the site, just google.com, right?
Yeah.
And such a name made perfect sense. Right now, for example, I am a site reliability engineer in Serverless. So I just call myself Serverless reliability engineer. That's it.
Okay.
And but the nature of the work is the same. It is defined by, in particular, a few books we have written at Google, which are free for everybody. I think you can read them online, I believe. We call them SRE books. There is SRE book, the first one, and then SRE workbook, which tell in more detail, in a lot of detail actually, what we do and how and why.
Yeah.
Overall, it is about keeping our systems scalably maintainable and reliable and efficient.
Okay.
So that we can evolve our products very quickly, but at the same time we deliver what customers expect in terms of how rarely does the system break, how quickly it works.
Okay.
And we also deliver on what is expected of the system in terms of how efficient it is, resource-wise, how easy it is to maintain and operate it, people-wise.
Okay.
Because you can imagine if your usage grows from few users to billions of users, you cannot scale your support team billion-wise. Otherwise, it will be like half planet supporting another half of planet. It doesn't work this way. So you need to do something about it. You need to automate a lot. You need to think very carefully about how to evolve your system. And this is about SRE as well. This is what SRE is about.
So simply speaking, let us say if I open the google.com or any of Google services, it should work, right? So if it doesn't work, that means you are not doing your job, let's say, efficiently. Is that true? Or your team, I mean your department.
If you look in the book, and also if you see some YouTube videos we had nice some nice videos made by our leaders there, that it may not be that efficient to have system running, actually being available all the time. It is actually not so much needed even, I think, because of, in most cases, when you can't access google.com, it will be your computer not working, your provider not working, your browser broken.
That's very good. Okay.
There are so many things on the way.
Yeah.
That it makes no sense to keep Google 100% available because of nobody will ever notice it. I mean, you cannot reliably measure 100% from outside. So what we do, we set targets. What SRE books also talk about is we define error budgets. We define how many errors we can serve in a period of time, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
And then this error budget gives us a freedom to experiment. It gives us freedom to build and roll out new features, because of you cannot build and roll out new features without sometimes making a mistake. It is just impossible. So there will be something broken time to time.
Okay, so wrapping up, so you take care that systems are functional systems and things work there. And let us say
up to a defined limit.
Yeah, so, yeah, up to defined, of course. You cannot do 100% nothing. And then you mentioned experimenting. Like, simply, how much do you experiment in your job or as a team?
I would say practically everything we do, we regard as an experiment, actually.
Okay.
Because if you have hypotheses, it may be you debugging some incident. You have a hypothesis and you try to prove or disprove it using monitoring data, logs, whatever is at your disposal. It may be that you have a hypothesis of how customers will use your feature, or that they will love it. And then again, you have to build it and measure it and see if it is actually the case. It may be not. It may be very different from what you expected initially. It is wise to treat practically everything as an experiment, because of then you aren't so much disappointed by a failure. Rather, you are prepared to get data in whatever you do. You shall be thinking of how do I measure success, or how do I measure what the outcome of it, and then act on it in some way.
Okay, so that means you do a lot of experiments. Then my next question is, usually, let's say, young students or teenagers, they usually, they're afraid of making mistakes. Now, is it okay to make mistakes, and then to debug them, or let's say, do you often have some mistakes or bugs and you deal with them?
Of course, I mean, we're humans. We make mistakes, and these mistakes may be different. It may be just me typing in a wrong command, or it may be me not understanding fully consequences of what I'm doing because of the systems I am operating are just so complex. It may be we design something that will produce unexpected results a year down the line.
Yeah.
So all these events lead to something perceived as broken or not working as expected. But all the way we learn from it. Again, if you look in the theory book, there are chapters, I think, devoted to a thing we call blameless postmortems. And this is exactly about the culture SRE fosters, that we shall not be blaming. In fact, we aren't even naming particular people that made a mistake. It is not even possible often to say that there was a single person making a mistake, actually. Complex outages are usually results of multiple events colliding in some way. But the main thing is we try to look at the system as a whole, including software and organization, people, processes, and think of what could we improve to reduce probability of such event in the future. And these improvements result in, again, it may be process improvement, it may be updating instructions, it may be updating software, which is better because of the less instructions we have, the easier it is to do our job. It may be updating monitoring, improve alerting. There are so many things you could do, but there are never action items like, I don't know, tell somebody he was wrong. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't scale. Right?
Okay, so mistakes are okay, but it depends on how you approach them. You fix them, then you learn out of your mistakes so that you don't do the same mistakes in the future, right? If we wrap up in short. Okay, so people who are watching or will watch this, don't be afraid of mistakes. Try to correct them and understand them. Okay. Then again, coming back to maybe Riga, right? So before going to Google, you had some background, right? You told that you was teaching coding, and let's say if you can say that, what's the difference, like working in Riga and working in London?
Well, I can't generalize. I didn't work in London anywhere but Google, right? And Google is a special place, I believe.
Okay.
One of a few, but the difference is maybe multiculturality. In Riga, I was working with the people who are pretty much like me in many senses. Like, we shared a lot of books or like films we watched and stuff like this. And the language, which is also important. It is important to have quick, easy conversation. Here, what I see, and again, I'm talking about my personal experiences here, right? My experiences, I meet people from all over the world, and I work with them, even on the same team in London, not speaking of people I work with remotely on other continents and in other countries. And we are so different. We have very different backgrounds. We have different cultures. We are very different in terms of what and how we were raised, what we learned, and what school we went into, and stuff like this. So this is really interesting and challenging at the same time.
Okay, so one It's kind of a silly question. Let's say it doesn't matter you are in Riga or in Tallinn or in Vilnius or in Warsaw, doesn't matter. So if you want to work in an international environment, like language knowledge, like English is important, right?
It
or
is
not?
more than important, I would say.
More than
Before
important.
I moved to Google, I thought I know English. I mean, I was using it fairly often at my jobs. I was talking to foreigners about we were working with foreign companies, consultants, whatever. But it is a different level of it if you want to be actually embedded in a team. I think it is. Yeah, it took me some time adjusting and adapting.
Okay, because let's say we do run courses like coding courses, programming courses, and for those who study like 14 plus, we usually do courses in English. And sometimes, people ask, why are you doing English? Why not? Because that's important. Like you should know this language and terminology if you want to work. And I know that guys who work in Riga, they do use a lot of English. I don't know, was that your case or not? But if you work,
yeah, we did, but somehow
yeah,
here it appears to be
more
needed much more.
intense. Okay, I see that we have a couple of questions we can start answering. Even 3 questions. What would a day in the life of your job look like? Rainy Boy asks.
It depends on the day. If I'm on call for some service, then I will be responding to issues when they arise. If I am just doing my project work, which is most of my time, then I have a plan. I have current tasks. It may be, I don't know, Kanban or Scrum, whatever tracking team and uses to track current work. And I'm working on these tasks. And this includes collaboration with other people. I'm reading docs, commenting on them, responding to comments. I'm writing docs myself to propose something, to express some idea, to try to solicit feedback on something. I'm writing code, or mostly it is more reading code than writing, frankly, because of there is so much code written already. And you need to navigate it. You need to understand it pretty well. So it may be like you read it for a day and then you made one light change. Yeah, this happens fairly often.
Okay, so as we see, your typical day is quite busy. Now, maybe a natural continuation of this, do you maybe right now work mostly remote or like within a team, like seeing each other and talking to each other?
I'm working remotely at the moment. I think I will be going to the office a few days a week, maybe next month. But we are still seeing each other, just online.
Yeah,
it is important, I think, to keep us a team. It is wired somewhere in humans, I think, that people you see often are regarded as your family, close social circle, whatever you call it, right? And you need to maintain it to have a good team relationship.
So the question also, like, is it like theoretically, is it possible to live in your city of like where you have born or living, working, and work in Google remotely?
Yeah, I can't tell you for sure because I am not representing Google on this talk, right? But
practically, would it be possible? Like, what do you think? It's not like, is it like this in Google or not? But it's just. Or in any big company.
It depends on many factors, I think. One of them would be just your legal and tax situation. So if the company would even enjoy a thought of having a work agreement, employment agreement with you, governed by, say, Latvian legislation, or they won't bother. And then it is also a question of if the company has remote teams, I think, or people working remotely. I think Google has or will have, yeah, there is something like this brewing or already happening, and other companies as well, I think, are doing similar stuff, like Zoom included, I believe. So this is technically possible. Having said it, it also depends on what role are you going to play. How independent can you be in your work, actually? How easy it will be for you to be working with people you see rarely and only online, right? So it may be also the question of like personalities, maturity. I don't know how to decide and judge it yet. It is a problem that we are facing, all of us, I think, and we will find some solutions in coming years, I believe.
Okay. Let's go for the next question from the community. And the next question is, what strengths do you think are most important in your position? That's the question.
I think ultimately it is your ability to deliver value to for the company, right? This is why employer wants you, and this is why they're paying you money and keeping paying you money, right? The question is how you realize it. Some people do it by writing very good code. Some people do it by getting projects landed, not writing a lot of code themselves. Some people do it by making sure there is that communication happens, that people actually understand each other, and there are no surprises among stakeholders of a project. There are so many things you could do to bring this value to the company. So it is hard to answer very, very generically. And in the position I'm in, there is a lot, not only my personal contribution, so to say, but also about how I make sure that we as a team are working well enough. And this means thinking about other people, thinking about how to, I don't know, maintain their expertise or build their expertise, how to maintain team processes and make them better, and stuff like that.
Thank you. The next question, let's pick, that was from Artex, and then we have from Hayden a question. Obviously, these are nicknames. What is your favorite project that you have done in your career?
I don't know.
If there is any.
Actually, the problem is I'm thinking in either very, very close past, or I need to go through 20 years and think of, okay, which one is actually, I don't want to do it. It will take a lot of time.
Okay, so every project is valuable and interesting, actually.
They are interesting in different senses. Yeah, there are different things you learn from them each time. Yes.
Okay. Let's pick up the next one. Angela asks, Alexei, please tell us more about your job interview at Google. If it's not secret, of course. What was the most difficult question during your job interview?
Wait a second.
Yeah, sure.
Have a computer here.
So I will just, cat.
Yes.
What's the name of your cat?
His name is Bo.
Okay, Bo. Hi, Bo.
He
I have heard
sometimes
that,
loves humans. So
yeah, I have heard that Google allows employees to take like pets into the office. Do you use this opportunity or not?
sadly, not cats.
Not cats. Okay.
Dogs, yes.
Oh, sorry. That's kind.
When we were in the office, there were people with dogs quite often, which is quite fun. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
The question was about job interview. Okay.
Yes.
Now you go.
And what was the most difficult question?
Now I won't remember the exact question, of course, and I couldn't tell it. I can't disclose it anyway. I have a pack of pointers to materials. I use it in my preparation. So this is something I can dump on Elgin and let him distribute
Okay.
if he wants. So let's center my advice around it. The interview process is pretty well documented on Google Careers page. I haven't looked at it recently, but it was very well documented, and my recruiter also gave me a lot of information about what is expected. There was even a training, a preparation for one of the interviews run by Google before they interview you, which is kind of fun and great. It was about non-abstract large system design interview, which is, or at least was part of SRE interviewing track, which is basically you need to design a big system during your interview. It's not unique to Google, I think. I think Amazon is asking similar questions and many others as well, I believe, the same. And then the rest of materials are mostly about algorithms and data structures. This is something you need to understand and be quite fluent in. So if there is one resource I could recommend, go find MIT in the Introduction to Algorithms and Data Structures course and watch it and understand it.
And be fluent in that.
Well, maybe not all of that, but like at least the part up to and including graphs, and this is already quite a lot. And again, it doesn't give any guarantees you will pass, because if nobody will ask you like, program me a binary tree. No, but you may well encounter some question in which a binary tree or a graph traversal or whatever would be very useful. So these are the things you need to think of when preparing. It is a bit of sad, I think, that it works this way, because of you need to have some topic in common with interviewer you can reason about together, so that you can show your ability to manipulate complex thought objects and write complex code quickly and debug it, right? And data structures and algorithms is one such topic.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can find something else later down the line. I have heard of people playing some complex games like Factorio as process of interviewing, and saying that how people solve problems can be judged by how they play this game, because if it is an engineering game, you need to build a factory.
Yeah.
So yeah, there may be other ways to do it, but Google does it through programming interviews.
Okay, that's really interesting, fun. Now you talk about games. Now I imagine a company with an interview. Hey, let's play CS:GO, and then we will choose one.
Well, it depends on the company.
Yeah.
if you actually are going to go and shoot people, then maybe it would be appropriate. I don't know.
Yeah, that's also an issue. Agree. But overall, yeah, games are a very interesting topic, and we also see some gamification processes even during the interviews or the work process itself. Thank you, Aleksej, for answering this question. Let's go for the next one. It's interesting from Rainy Boy. How much of free time do you sacrifice for your job? So if you want, I can interpret the question as I understand, but I think
in my experience is that Google is doing a very good job at guarding my life-work balance, as we call it, and making sure I do not need and don't feel tempted even to work more than my working time. And this is great. I love it. On the other hand, yeah, this notion of free time is kind of interesting, because of what would you like to do with your free time? If you like to go and learn how complex software systems work, well, this is what we do at Google at work time, right? So yeah, you may want to extend it a bit to just learn more. Google is like being at a conference every day, you see. Do you go to conferences on your free time? Sometimes, yes.
okay. And the next question is from Artix again. How do you think further technology advances will impact your job, if they will? The future of jobs.
It changes a lot, of course. When I started, it was a long time ago, it was quite possible for me to understand practically everything that happened in my computer. It was so simple. Well, even my first computer networks. And then now it is so complex, I do not understand most of it, I think, which is a bit frustrating. Going further, yeah, hard to tell. Some point in the future, we may reach a point when artificial intelligence will be actually intelligent enough to not need us as humans. And then it will be like a global problem. But until then, what we are doing, we are reasoning about complex things, complex and changing things. And so far, we don't have anything better than human brain for it. If you speak of like programming itself, then yes, of course, it's changed a lot. It changed from you needed to remember a lot of stuff to you can Google up everything. And now you can put together practically anything from code samples, libraries, and something else available on the internet practically for free for whatever problem you want to solve, right? So it is like a different level of thinking you need to do it. The problem with it, however, is that we're getting worse at understanding how it all works. This is a downside, I think.
Okay. Okay, so the next question from Belle. Do you have team building events in Google? If yes, what activities do you do?
Different. I don't think we need. No. Okay, no cats on keyboard. Okay. Again, my experience is very limited because of it's just me, and we had a lot of different things like virtual summits, physical summits. We fly together somewhere and have talks and enjoy fun activities.
I mean, fly physically fly, or in virtual
Yeah,
reality. Okay.
Fly physically, I mean. It may be, I don't know, a chocolate making workshop or whatever, cooking. I actually enjoyed some of it. It was fun. So there are so many things you can do. I think this is important, but there shall be an element of fun in the job itself. Otherwise, no team building or fun events will save you in the end.
And what is this fun element, do you think, if you can describe it?
This is what you and your colleagues create. This is, you need a lot for it first. You need psychological safety. You need just physical safety. Like you need to feel secure enough to be also making jokes about what you are doing, or making fun of some things. Like, I don't know. An example I've seen is we have a room with a big whiteboard, and somebody wrote there, it was like 2 days since the previous outage. And since then, people are just wiping this 2 and replacing it with a new number. So this is just an example, yeah. Or we have a special room, like war room for incidents, for incident resolution. Somebody brought their figure of black swan, and so there are so many funny things you can do. In one of offices, I have seen an entire pub inside an office. Just on one of the floors, people created a pub, normal pub, like with beer, everything.
That's real fun, yeah.
Yeah.
So by security, you mean that this is like kind of allowed by a company, so it creates like friendly environment so that you can express yourself, right?
Yes, it is absence of hostility, absence of danger. Like if I do it, I will be fired, or like I'm earning so little, I need to worry about how do I feed myself, right? And then again, you can't have fun too much, right? So all this counts.
Cool. Let's pick up another question. And Danulka asks, do you have a higher education and where did you study? Very interesting question.
That's a fun question. After working for about 15 years or so, a bit less, I finished school and I went working as programmer, and then everything. I think I was an engineering manager by time.
But immediately after school, sorry for interrupting, immediately after school without university?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, I tried some universities and found I either didn't like studying anymore or I didn't like how they teach in particular universities.
Okay.
And then I just went working. Because if I thought, okay, it is more important for me now. I wanted to have family, children, be independent, stuff like this. So, and it was working very well. And then after many years, I was approached by a Google recruiter for the first time. And at the end of our first conversation, they asked about my education, and I said, I just finished school. And then I felt like something wrong is going there, because they never called me again. It was the only conversation we had. So I thought, okay, maybe I need a higher education. I need a diploma at least, right? So I went and got one.
Oh, that was kind of a formal thing, right?
It was certainly different from the experience most of people get when they go there right out of school. Because of, well, let's start from the beginning. It was fairly easy for me to be working right out of school because of education I've got in the school and in parallel to school was excellent. I studied in one of the best schools, many 100 kilometers around Riga, I think. And I also went to Progmeistars, or what was there before Progmeistars. And material I got there was equivalent to what I saw in the first couple of years in the university.
At university, yeah.
Yes. So I knew a lot of stuff. Yes. But then when I went to study to get higher education, finally I went to Transport and Soccer Institute, TSI in English, and this was different because of I already had a lot of experience, so I could at least relate what people are talking about to what actually happens in industry. And yes, some of it was outdated, some of it was very relevant, but like my co-students didn't appreciate it because of they haven't experienced it yet. Yeah, what higher education is trying to give you is very broad curriculum, like trying to tell you, I don't know, how telephone networks work. I never used this knowledge since then, honestly. To so many things. And this is a bit of a problem with this higher education. Like you do not get value from everything you have paid for if you're paying for it, or at least you're paying with your time anyway. But at the same time, there is a good chance to get actually broad understanding of how industry works, and this helps. This helps when you start getting into positions of more responsibility, into, I don't know, leadership positions, management positions. You start doing analysis, you start doing project management, things like this. You need to understand broader than just a single job you have learned. Yeah.
By the way,
I hope it answers the question.
Yeah, we hope that answers the question. By the way, you also mentioned this, and also at our school, Datorium, where we teach teenagers coding, already at age, even starting from 16, 17, 18, our students, they get their first internships or jobs, real projects. And sometimes some of them are quite surprised that they work with people with a university or likewise education, and they know sometimes a bit even more, like because they had already some practice. And what we do, we also give a lot of practice, like projects, teamwork, this like kind of in the real life. So when you mentioned that during the school you already knew the first like 1 or 2 years from the university. So yeah, that's not a surprise. And that's also what we see and we feel. And we also, by the way, we also quite intensively advise to get teenagers to get their like first jobs. And it's like, let me ask you this question from you. Would you advise at age 16, 17, 18 to try to get their first projects, jobs, to those like teenagers who listen us?
I would say it is essential because of this is the only way to learn, to actually learn. You need to apply your knowledge, and courses, even doing some tasks, only goes that far. It also helps you find motivation working with other people. You just need to find people whom you would enjoy working with, either because they're paying you money, or even better, if these are your friends, then I think it may work better than money, actually. And this gives you an actual understanding that even if we call the job a programmer, it's not about programming so much. It is, again, about delivering results. And you need to be thinking about why I'm doing it, whom it will be useful to, and how to make it happen together with all these other people. It is quite different from working on your own. Having said that, I have seen some pitfalls in how people learn programming these days. It is fairly easy to, again, just combine solutions from what you find on the internet. If you just take Stack Overflow and compile it, will probably run and do something. But people don't understand how it works. Even not only at the level of what this code does, but how people arrived at this code. And to the, like, what I would regard the primitive levels. Let me give you some example. I don't know. I mean, you can encounter a person who can build a website which has some functionality. There is something running, moving, responding. There is interaction, but they get stuck because they never in their life encountered an idea of a cyclical buffer, for example. They just don't have the concept in their head, right? Because of, again, they never saw data structures and algorithms, probably. And then they're stuck. They don't understand how to solve a problem. They can't even formulate a problem in terms that make it solvable in any programming language. So this is something we need to be teaching people still, I think. It's not so much about teaching particular language and particular libraries, because of it is on the internet. It is very easy to get. You just search for it and you get it. It is rather about making sure people understand how they need to think so that this is easily translatable to how machine works.
I think this is really very cool advice. And those who are listening us or will listen us, just follow this advice. And that's really cool, because not because like it's just an Aleksej who tells you this, but because I hear that from many people who are in practice, and I talk to very different people from this industry, at least IT industry. So that's very important to really make projects, make teamworks. And thank you, Aleksej, also for your opinion on this. Let's go for the next question. And the next question is, what skills or characteristics make someone an effective remote worker? Okay. Very modern question.
There are many dimensions to it. One is independence. You need to be able to organize yourself more than if you were in the office, because of in the office, the surroundings themselves are kind of conducive to work. You aren't expected to do anything but work there, right? And you can't actually. You don't have your favorite couch or video games or whatever, although we have them at Google actually, and sleeping pods and whatever. I can go and have a nap at work, and I do sometimes. But anyway, at home it is much harder. It may be much harder, or it may be just circumstances you have at home. Like, imagine a person writing an email very quickly because of their children just destroying the house, the floor above, for example. Or there are so many problems we can have with remote. Another dimension to it is, how do you still keep connected with other people? Because if it is a necessary part, collaboration, and it also can motivate or demotivate you. It is also about how you handle remote meetings. It is harder in remote meetings to be inclusive, to make sure everybody has their say. So yeah, there are many circumstances to it. I think the main answer would be conscious, be noticing the problems, be noticing deficiencies, and do something about them. Try to address them. Talk about them with other people, be it your manager, your teammates, whoever, your roommates if you live with somebody, and so
on. Okay. Then one more question. Can you tell that your job is very stressful?
I'm not sure it is a job property. Or I would put it this way, if you think it is a job property, then my job is certainly not stressful. I am not, I don't know, an ambulance driver, for example, right? What we do is sometimes connected to actually saving people's lives, yes, but not so directly and not 100% of time. I mean, there are services running on Google Cloud, which shall be running, otherwise there are people's lives in danger, yes. So for me, it is more about what do I do to make me not feel my job as stressful. As saying goes amongst the three, let me just remember how it was. Oh my God, I forgot the beginning of it. It was also written in our panic room. Ah, yeah, panic room, right. So it says, don't panic, otherwise you won't enjoy the outage. As easy as that, but the problem is that it is hard to execute on this advice. And it is purely your personality question, I think. As far as I see at Google myself, a company does everything to make me feel safe in this environment so that I can actually relax and instead of being stressed, do my job in the best way. Because while I am stressed, actually, I can't do it the best way. Part of me is worrying, right? I'm not as free and don't have so much capacity to think and invent, and I need to be inventive.
Cool. I think we let's say we have some approximately 7 minutes, and if you guys have any questions, just drop them. I think we'll have time for a couple of more questions. And here's the one question, and then I will ask my own question also, and you guys keep writing questions, so we will try to answer all of them until we have time. Do you see yourself staying where you are, or do you think you will change jobs companies in the future? Okay, that's...
I don't know. There are so many different things I could do at Google alone. So just changing a team at Google feels like changing a lot, because if you get into a new problem set, a new system, new service. So I have a lot of opportunities inside Google as well, and it would be hard to find something better than Google. But yeah, maybe I'll try one time. I don't know.
All right. I think we had a small interruption. Here's a question. Also, do you have any learning material recommendations?
A lot of them. I will dump them on Elchin after this talk and then let him distribute it in some way. Okay.
Okay. All right, so let's wrap up this session. And Aleksej, my last question is, what would you recommend to a person who is studying right now at school and probably soon will finish the school. At school age, let's say school age teenagers.
Is that all the question? I mean, recommend for what? Set your own goals. Start with that. Then probably you can narrow the field of what what you could do.
Okay, I had some technical problems here, I think, with the Zoom, actually, not with Google, with Zoom. Now I think it seems that I fixed them. Okay, so if we wrap up this session, I just want to thank you, Aleksej, for being with us. And I want to thank you from the whole Datorium community. And by the way, we are right now around 1,600 young students studying and learning interesting things about coding, programming, IT tech. And it is really very useful to have you guys telling us interesting things, because it's not like just about, community is about a lot of people, right? And we are always interested in talking with different people from different companies. And that's why I truly appreciate your time. Is there anything you want to tell, maybe, if there is something? Then we're gonna wrap up and finish.
No, just thank you for having me. I hope it is useful. I enjoyed a lot teaching teenagers in my previous life.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Aleksej. Thank you. I wish you excellent new achievements in your career, and hope to see you someday later, also talking to our community. That will be very great. So I'll keep in touch with you also. And if you wish, you can stay in our Discord channel or join our Discord channel. And we have a lot of things happening here. I know that you are very busy. Just if you wish, you can stay here and see what's going on in our community, maybe give some advices to young students here. That would be also cool. But of course, it depends on how much time you have. That's most important. All right, Aleksej, thank you. Then, guys, we now finish this another live stream, and I hope that we will have more, because during the summertime we had some pauses because it was summertime. Now we have started the new, let's say, semester, the autumn semester, and we'll have excellent courses. Just go into our website and you will see what courses we have. We have very highly qualified professional tutors doing that courses. And also we'll have also live streams, interesting events. So stay tuned, subscribe to our YouTube channel, be in our Discord, because we inform everything in our Discord channel, and you will be informed about everything. And be active, participate, and see you later. Bye-bye, everyone. See you later. Bye.